was being made available with a competitor, that suddenly things started going bad. This is one category of challenges. Another challenges category is the undesirable content category. When you talk of cybercrimes invariably talk about a variety of issues. One of them relate to undesirable content. So, for example, was there a question? Okay. For example, today a big challenge is pornography. Well, internet is being provided, access is being provided by companies, but if your employees are viewing pornography during office hours, is that a problem? Do you have an issue? Does corporate India needs to be concerned? My answer to that simple question is yes. And who better to let you know than the famous Baazi.com case. A couple of years back, this was in late 2004. You know, in middle 2004, we suddenly started seeing an MMS emerging. This MMS was of two school students of Delhi Public School in Delhi, a prominent public school, and the MMS actually showed the boy being given oral sex by the girl. This 2.5 odd minutes MMS, initially meant for private circulation, leaked out in the public domain. And then anybody and everybody who could view MMS was viewing it, and it was the talk of the town, the talk of the country. It was being discussed on forums everywhere. One guy who was a student of an Indian Institute of Technology at Kharagpur decided to monetize this opportunity. Why? Because the concerned MMS was available on the internet, on the lands, everywhere. So he went up to that particular website called Baazi.com, which is an online auction portal, and just left a message. Hey guys, if you do not have the famous GPS MMS, I can give you at 100 rupees a download. That message was posted on a Saturday evening. By that time, Baazi was closed. Sunday being Sunday, it was a holiday. Monday morning, the website was notified that this kind of message has come up. So the website pulled down the message. But by that time, history had been created. More than 2,000 people had downloaded the MMS at 100 rupees. For that activity, a case was registered. Not only was the guy caught, but the CEO of Baazi.com was arrested and he was put behind bars for 6 days. The first time an Indian CEO was put behind bars for corporate liability for pornographic content. And why was he put behind bars? Because he happened to be the CEO of a company which was a network service provider. A case for online obscenity was registered under Section 67 of the IT Act. And for that offense, 6 days behind bars is a long time. You haven't done anything. You don't know who's posted it. The moment you came to know about it, you immediately pulled it down. What else do you require? Law said, sorry, nothing doing. Law talks about parameters. The parameters are, if you publish, if you transmit, or if you cause to be published, anything in the electronic format, which is lascivious, or which appeals to the prurient interests, or the effect of which is to tend to deprave and corrupt the minds of those who are likely to see, read, or hear the same. That is an offense. Now, it's amazing. Look, cybercrime, a large chunk of potential cybercrimes in India relate to pornography and sex. So, you would expect the law to give you a definition of what is obscene. But the law is clever. The law does not define what's obscene. The courts have been very, very hesitant to give any definition or exhaustive formula for determining what is obscene. Well, the Indian Supreme Court, way back in the Ranjit Udeshi case, 1971, actually said that, look, each case has to be seen in its own particular facts. We can't give you one standard definition, but they adopted a Hicklin test. The Hicklin test is, what is the effect of the said content on a person who's likely to see, read, or hear the same? If the effect is to tend to deprave his mind, well, that's obscene. So nudity is not obscenity. Eroticism could be obscenity. Hardcore sexual activities could be obscenity. But if depicted in a artistic manner could also not be seen as obscene. So the law is very, very unclear. But be that as it may, we as corporate Indians need to understand that the next time you watch pornography on your computer systems, well, there's nothing stopping you from watching pornography, but you are endangering your company. Why? Because your company is going to be liable for this act in case if this act is going to be reported. Now, in India, the man who gets caught is a thief. Everybody steals. The man who gets caught is a thief. So the man against whom a complaint would come, or the company against whom a complaint would come, would be liable for obscene content. A lot of times what happens, people like to view content, save it in some local folder in their computer, thinking, well, I'll come and access it at a later time when I'm free. That local folder may be under some other name, an official name or personal name, may be buried somewhere deep on the server, the platform, the hard disk or whatever. If it is buried there, the liabilities of the company, that you would be liable. Why are you liable? Because of a basic problem under the Indian law. The Indian cyber law, we have the Indian Information Technology Act 2000 that deals with all cyber crimes in the country. While I'm going to talk about cyber crimes a bit later, I need to come to this first because this impacts corporate India. The law has defined the concept of a network service provider. What is a network service provider? Anyone? Any idea in the room? What could be a network service provider?
Just to give an instance of Baazi.com,
yeah?
anybody who is providing a network for transactions to happen between two parties. So.
Absolutely. Anyone who provides a network, who provides a service on a network, would qualify as a network service provider. The law says if you are an intermediary, you are a network service provider. And that's where the magical section 79 comes in. I think anybody who's listening to this broadcast or videocast would be interested in going ahead and looking around this particular section. This is the magical section, or shall I say the most dreaded section that corporate India needs to be aware of. This is the one section in Indian law, in Indian cyber law, which demonstrates the liability of network service providers. So first and foremost, a network service provider is not just an internet service provider. Anybody who's providing a service on a network qualifies as a network service provider. I'm talking to you on the TCS network. This videocast is going on that network. TCS is providing the platform through which this telecast, this service is going across. Clearly, TCS becomes a network service provider. If you are providing any kind of a content, if you're providing any website, if you're providing any kind of a facility or service on the network, in the digital platform, wherein you could be called as an intermediary, you will qualify as a network service provider.
So that means every company who has its website is a network service provider.
Absolutely. I can't agree more with you. Any company which is providing internet connectivity to its employees becomes a network service provider. If you are on a LAN, you become a network service provider. If you're giving a website, the company giving the website becomes a network service provider. If you're giving any kind of a content service on the network, you become a network service provider. Having said that, the law goes further. The law says if you're a network service provider, you will be liable for all third-party data or information made available by you. Looks tough. Looks dangerous. Only in two conditions you will not be liable. The first condition is you will have to show that you had no knowledge of any contravention of the law. Or second is you have to prove that